everybody, my name is Melissa and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing something completely different than what I have ever done before, and that is a review. By the title, you know what this is. That is Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. What inspired me to do a review on this book is because when I was reading through it, I just couldn't stop. I absolutely fell in love with the story and I fell in love with the characters. Let's go ahead and talk about this book. Daisy Jones and the Six is set in LA during the late 1960s and 1970s. Drugs, booze, and rock and roll are the main points of this story. The Six are an up-and-coming band who are starting to gain notoriety and really starting to begin playing stadiums. Daisy Jones is the it girl around LA, and she just signed a contract where she is a solo artist, but she finds that her label isn't letting her write her own lyrics and write her own songs, and she is really struggling with that fact. The Six and Daisy Jones end up coming together and creating a single which is called Honeycomb, and that song becomes a really big hit. The label wants them to create an entire album together. So this book is about the process of creating this album together and ultimately what is the actual reason and the lead up to why this band dissolved and what became of them. Billy is the lead singer of the Six. Him and Daisy Jones don't really get along at all. He really doesn't like her because she is a very strong-willed person and she doesn't take no easily. So she wants to do her own thing, her own way, and he is a very controlling personality and wants things done his way. What I really enjoyed about the story is actually the format of it. It's actually told in documentary type style, so if you're one that likes to really watch those Netflix documentaries, this is told in that format. It's like you're reading a documentary that you would see on TV. I know a lot of people have mentioned that they didn't like the way that this was told. They kind of felt that it detracted from the connection that they could make to the characters, but I honestly found that I was just as, involved and cared for the characters just as much as I would have if it was told in a normal story type format. Daisy Jones as a character is someone that I absolutely adored and loved. I felt she was completely fleshed out even through this format, and I was rooting for her the entire time. She was completely flawed. She had a lot of issues. She had a lot of drug issues and substance abuse issues. I just found her so compelling. So at the beginning of the story, you learn about her childhood, how she was kind of neglected. Since you're given this backstory, you kind of understand the way she acts and why she acts the way she does. Daisy Jones is really like the it girl. Everybody is attracted to her. They want to be around her. They want to be her, but she had this vulnerability that she needed people close to her and she really couldn't ever be alone. She didn't really realize that she was vulnerable. That unfortunately led to, certain people preying on her for her money or, her celebrity, or the fact that she supplied, the party. So she was this very multidimensional character. She was very strong. She was very, determined, but yet she was very vulnerable, and she just was completely, you literally could pull her out of the page and she could be a real person. That's how I felt about Daisy Jones. I found her character also very inspiring at the same time because she was that it girl. She could walk into the room and everybody would flock to her and want to be her, and she was nothing but herself the entire time, and I really did like that about her. I really love music, and the fact that this book was based on, these 70s rock stars and their process of, creating this album, it was so amazing, and I wanted to be able to dive into this book or plug in a pair of headphones to be able to listen to it because I just wanted to soak it all in and listen to it and have those lyrics come to life. Something that, kind of broke my heart with this is, obviously there's a love story in it, and Daisy and Billy are one of those couples that you're rooting for, but at the same time you really shouldn't. And she was in love with someone that was emotionally unavailable, and that just broke my heart. Just, oh my gosh, this was just, this book was just so good, and her character was amazing. All of the characters were so good. Billy and Daisy's relationship was one that you wanted to work out so bad, but you knew that it absolutely should not work out. Billy is married at the, near the beginning of the story. He has a family, he has kids, and you see Daisy and Billy, and they are ultimately kind of the same person. They both have this very addictive personality, and they kind of feed off of each other. So if they ended up ever getting together, it would just be a train wreck. But at the same time, my heart hurt for them because these songs that they're writing, the lyrics, oh my gosh, it was just it was so heartbreaking and painful, but so amazing at the same time. And I just loved that aspect of the music, being able to reflect what they were really feeling. So during their time together, Billy is really trying to do the right thing. He's trying to push himself away from Daisy because he knows that ultimately this is not what he should be doing. I mean, he was doing the right thing, but still, you just want them to get together, and it just was very frustrating. So what I think really made this book and these characters was the chemistry between Daisy and Billy. Their constant fighting, they're pushing back and pulling together, from the different scenes of them writing the lyrics, writing the music for this, the scene when they are on stage and performing together was literally the exact same thing that you saw for the Grammys in 2019. So it was absolutely crazy. It was amazing. And this chemistry that they had together was just, you knew if they got together, it would just explode and be this crazy thing that probably wouldn't end very well. Music obviously plays a huge part in this, and I loved seeing the process of the writing and all of the band members and their different perspectives on how things came together. Billy is very controlling, and he wants, his album to come a certain way. The more people in the band, the more opinions there are. So kind of seeing that, and from different perspectives, and other people not realizing it even until this day, like how that person felt, it was really interesting. That's why I love documentaries so much, because you're getting all these different takes on it instead of just one. The lyrics to the music were absolutely so well thought out by this author. Every single thing that, went on in this book was kind of reflected in this lyric. What it meant between Billy and his wife, or, Daisy and how she felt about him. It was, oh my gosh, it was just so good. The way that this author wrote this story really made me want to watch a concert by them. I wanted to see this electricity between all of the band members, being able to see Daisy and Billy perform together and their chemistry on stage. I wanted to listen to this amazing guitarist and all of the things that made this band so great. Oh my goodness, it was just so good. Literally, since I finished this book, I have not stopped listening to like Fleetwood Mac and 70s rock music. It has been my go-to ever since I finished this book. All of the characters in this book came together in such an amazing way. There were smaller characters that came in and kind of would tell their part of the story, but all of them were completely fleshed out in my opinion. Each had their own personality, each had their own take on what happened with Daisy Jones and the Six, and it was so well thought out. Honestly, I believe each of these characters that had their say, like as I mentioned earlier, you could pull Daisy Jones from this story and pull her out and she would be a whole character. Same thing with these other characters as well. You get an idea and you feel for them because they're telling this emotional story that really impacted them and made this big difference. So you kind of get an idea that these are, real people and they have real emotions. Even if you didn't like the characters and what they had to say, they were either full of humor or, they were just telling it how it was and gave it to you straight from their perspective. And it just made it this whole thing. And it was so gripping and, like I said, completely fast-paced, and I just wanted to read on to find out, what happened to these characters and what made this amazing rock band really fall apart. And that's what you get from this story. Something that I loved and hated at the same time was Billy and his wife's relationship. I understand that Camille loved Billy. Obviously, there was this love between them because she stuck through him so much. Once he found out that she was pregnant, he left and went on tour and got into a lot of things that he shouldn't. And a lot of those reasons were the reasons why he stayed away from Daisy. So she stuck through him and really made him a better person, which is what I loved, is because she supported him, she gave him trust, and he loved her back. And they just had this amazing, relationship that held on, when during this time, these rock, stars, gods, whatever, didn't, have these relationships like that. So that was amazing to see. At the same time, I don't know if I would have been able to do what she did and stick by him through all of that. And that was absolutely amazing, but at the same time, very frustrating. I know it's really bad to say because obviously, Daisy and Billy, they were not supposed to be together. They would have been really bad, but while you're reading this, you're kind of like rooting for them to be together. And obviously Camille and her family and their family were in the way of that happening. Camille as a character was very interesting. She was very strong-willed. She, you know, became friends with all of the other members of the group. They kind of, you know, took her in, and she was there supporting Billy as well. So like I said, during the whole entire book, I loved them together, but yet I hated them together. So it was just kind of like this mixed feeling about that. All right, everybody. So this was my review for Daisy Jones and the Six. Thank you so much for watching. I know that this probably went on for a little while, and thank you so much for watching my first ever review. I really appreciate it. Please like and subscribe for more content to come. I would love to have you join me, and have a great day and happy reading. Bye!